the restrictions and everything, we could not go anywhere. Can you just share a little bit about what your experience was? I mean, you're in the travel business. How were you affected, and how was travel affected?
Well, I will tell you that, of course, nobody was traveling except Sassy. That's right. I traveled throughout the whole COVID. I traveled up until people start traveling again. I started traveling in July of 2020 and I never stopped. It was an amazing time for me to go to places that I could bring my clients, places that weren't crowded, places that weren't, were off the beaten path. And so I traveled, I started my travel in Mexico, checking out resorts because this was a perfect time. Nobody was there. So, part of what I do and I bring to my clients is my relationships with the travel industry, professionals, hotels, hoteliers, and all of that. So I use that time to enhance the relationships that I had. So Mexico, I went to, I did some stateside luxury locations. I spent 41 days in Portugal. So COVID for me, for my business, not so good, but for me, it was the best time of my life.
Look, Sassy, you didn't drop some gems already. So the first thing you said is that you have relationships with the individuals who are hosting you. And then you dropped a new term. She said hotels and hoteliers. Okay. Can you define what a hotelier is?
A hotelier is a person or a group of people that represent a certain brand or a certain style of hotels. And so there's one thing to go to a resort. There's another thing if you go to a hotel that's part of a hotelier's brand. And so they may have one brand, but they may have it all over the world. They may have it in Greece, they may have it in London, they may have it in Rome. And so people who are travelers, sometimes they like to stay with the brands that they like because they like the service, they like, the amenities that they are afforded. And so in traveling, I am secure those relationships and to make greater bonds so that when my clients travel to those hotels, they are given the VIP service, they're giving extra amenities, and now, as you know, if you check in a hotel, you have to check out on time. They don't, if you want an hour later, they charge you. Well, that's part of the relationships that I have garnered is to give people early check-in, late checkouts, additional amenities. Sometimes there's not water in the hotels. And so those are the types of relationships that I utilize to enhance my clients' experience.
Yeah. So I remember we were talking a while back, and there was a term that came up that I want you to speak on. Okay. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay. The term was white glove service. Can you
Yes.
speak to as to what that is and how you get there if people are traveling with you?
Well, white glove service is part of the upgraded amenities. It's part of the VIP. It's part of, going to a resort and having someone unpack your luggage for you. It's those concierge services or butler service where you just say, I would like to go to dinner at A restaurant at this time and B restaurant on tomorrow. And I think I want to try C on the next day. All of those things are taken care by that white glove butler concierge service that I bring to my clients. And although sometimes people are reluctant to, oh, I don't need anybody to unpack my luggage. You don't need it until you had it. And then you will always want it. So, vacation is not just about, let me go somewhere. It's about the experience, it's about the culture, it's about someone taking care of you for the 7 or 10 or 14 days that you're there, where you don't have to worry about anything. All you have to do is get to wherever it is that you want to go. But when you get there, it's going to be that white glove service.
Okay, all right. So let's keep this white glove thing going. Okay. So if anybody, if you're in the chat, if you're in the chat, if you're listening on our app, okay, I want and you don't mind having a little bit of white glove service. I want you to put white glove in the chat, okay? But I want you to, Sassy, I want you to share with us. There are a lot of travel agents in the world, okay? And there's a difference between a an agent who travels and a traveler who is an agent.
Yes.
Okay, so I want you to share more about that and which one you are.
I am a traveler who's an agent because I travel. And part of bringing the best to my clients is having experienced it myself. So when I'm talking to my clients about this or that, I'm not just telling them about what I read, what I pulled up on Google, or what I asked Chat GTP. No, I am literally giving you my experience. And based on my experience, based on my relationships, that is how I give my clients an authentic experience. Because if it's not authentic and top notch for me, I'm definitely not going to advise my clients to do that. And so part of what I do is traveling because you only know destinations. I won't say you only know, but you know destinations better when you visit them. And
Mm.
so everybody can go to Jamaica. And don't get me wrong, the Caribbean is lovely. There's some beautiful places in the Caribbean. But as Marcia knows, I was just in Croatia. Yeah, Croatia. On a yacht. Yeah, a yacht. And when you talk about crystal clear, see through water, that's Croatia. The water has so much salt in it, you will never sink. You can put your arms out and just float in the water and you will never sink. You don't need any little tube, no little floaty, all that thing. It's just pure. You can look down and see your toenail polish. Yeah.
Wow. Look, I've seen some of the pictures and you have been having a ball. So what I want, and I just want to, before I move forward, I know I spent, and Sharon from Cincinnati, she says, welcome, amazing, no fear with traveling. She says, thanks for the tips. She says, white glove service, 3 exclamation points. She said, that's what's up.
Yes.
Thank you, Sharon from Cincinnati. So I know I have spent many a night looking through TripAdvisor, reading all of the comments, all the negative comments, all of the positive comments, all the positives in between. And at the last, when I get ready to make the trip, I will go ahead, I'll pray, and then I'll go ahead and hit send. And then between then and the time that I arrive, I'm thinking, okay, I hope those reviews were wrong. I hope those reviews were right. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what plan B is if I get there and it's not what it's billed as, or that picture was from 1970, not from 2023. so so speak to that.
Well, and now after COVID, you really have to be careful. Even myself, I have to revet my vendors to make sure that they can still deliver the service that they did. Because a lot of companies went out of business. A lot of them have lost staff. As you know, there's a staff shortage. So being able to provide the type of service and the level of service is very important. And so you need to really and some of those, don't get me wrong, I love TripAdvisor, but TripAdvisor comes to you from a whole different arena. So you got people who went there with the budget of 0 and was looking to do 100. And then you got the people who went there and they had a budget of 100 and they wanted 200. So, travel is very emotional. That is one of the very first things I do is have a consultation with my clients, because I need to make sure that I'm the right advisor for them and they're the right client for me. Because what I do is I present to them, this is how I work. Are you comfortable with that? Because if you're not comfortable with the way that my agency flows, then maybe I'm not the right travel agent for you. And I'm fine with that. But at the same time, maybe there's some things that you don't know. Even after, and one of my mottos is, I'm with you from the minute you have your consultation until the minute you get home. So everything that happens in between that, even once you book with me, I will send you emails to follow up. This is what you should bring. This is what you should pack. This is what you should look for. So it's not just like, okay, let me book her and then I'm on to the next. I garner the relationships that I have with my clients because my business is built on referrals. Now, yes, do I get some outside clients? I do. But one of the most, I guess, the most joyous things for me is when my clients say, I had the best time of my life and I never would have chose that location. But since you suggested it, I was willing to go. And it was way more than I even expected. That is where I bring the benefit of my experience, the benefit of my travel, the benefit of having these relationships to my clients. You can't get that with Google and you can't get that with TripAdvisor. Just saying.
Look, Sassy's dropped. She just dropped the mic. So let's see. You talked about Croatia, crystal clear water that you can see your toenail polish is what she said, right? On a yacht. I want you to tell us what are some of, I would say maybe the top five destinations that are curated by you, that are top notch, that folks should not miss in their lifetime.
Well, as you can see, I kind of have my little nautical shirt on. That's because I am hosting a group that is traveling to Greece on a 7-day cruise to explore the islands of Greece. So, Greece would be one, but also Northern Greece. Northern Greece is a whole different vibe. When you talk about the food and the culture, if you're looking for culture, that's one. Number two, don't sleep on Poland. Yeah, I said it. I did. Poland. Yeah, that was one of the probably the top places I've ever visited. The people, the food, the history, it was just top notch. Oh, and the wine. Don't forget the wine. Number three would be Curacao. Curacao is a different vibe. It's a Caribbean country, but it's not a well visited Caribbean country like Jamaica or Turks and Caicos. So that's a different kind of vibe. That was a very good experience for me. I guess number four would be Portugal. I liked Portugal. There was so much to do. The food was good. I think the highlight of that trip was going to the cork factory where I learned that 55% of all the cork in the world comes from Portugal. So when you
Really?
pop that wine, that's probably a cork from Portugal.
Got you. So,
And they make everything and out of cork: purses, shoes, belts, wallets, and it's more durable than leather. It will never stain, it will never scratch. So I grabbed me a blue purse from there. And it was so funny because when the tour guide took me, he didn't tell me that, oh, you need cash. So the next day I had scheduled to rent a car. So I called him and I said, look, where's that cork factory? He's like, that's 2 hours outside of Lisbon. I was like, okay. He's like, you're going to drive there? I was like, yes, I am. And as soon as I walked in the door, the lady knew that I wanted that blue purse. She didn't ask me anything. She just went and got my purse. I was like, thank you. Thank you very much. On top of the fact my BMW was blue. And I guess fifth, um, Jamaica. I mean, it's passe, but it's nothing like that vibe in Jamaica. The food, the rhythm, the people. Jamaica is just a jam. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah. Look, so it's funny that you mentioned Jamaica because I remember way back when you made frequent trips to Jamaica. Every time I got ready to find you, you were in Jamaica somewhere. I'm like, are you ever? Are you gonna come home ever? Okay. It was like Jamaica was her second home, and this is before you went full time into being gone all the time, like a full traveler. Like
Yeah.
your home address is like you don't. I don't think. Do you have a home address in the States?
The world is my
The
address.
world is her. I love it. Look, Sharon from Cincinnati, she says, yeah. She says, follow up and follow through all the way. She says, customer service, it still exists. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And that is such an amazing thing. So I wanted you to share a little bit about your journey. I know that you were, I think you said this out loud, that you were, for 31 years, you were a DEA agent. Okay.
Yes.
So we got the feds in the house tonight. Okay. But you were able to retire. And from there, you developed a love for travel. So can you share with me how, tell me more about how that turned on, that love for travel?
Well, I really think my love for travel started way before I started my agency. At the age of 12, I sang in an international chorus, and we actually visited Moscow and we visited Romania. And so I guess that kind of started my little travel journey. And after that, my mom would always take us to like Virginia Beach and Portsmouth and Norfolk. But then, just hearing about places and wondering where is that? And, Peru. When I was little, I learned about Peru. So I always had like this inkling, like, the Incas, they're so, industrious. And how did they build Machu Picchu? And lo and behold, as a DA agent, I got assigned to, that's right, Peru. Won't he do it?
Won't he?
And so, and so I worked here for 4.5 years, developed some great friendships. Like I say, it's all about relationships. And so, upon selling my home in Maryland, I just started traveling. And then I had booked a cruise and came back from Portugal to go on my cruise, and it was canceled. I was like, you don't have a place to go. And so my girlfriend from Peru just happened to call, and she said the same thing you did. Where in the world is Sassy? I was like, well, right now I'm kind of homeless. And she just happened to be renting an apartment. And so I said, I'm coming. And she's like, are you really? I said, yeah, you're going to pick me at the airport. I'm going to have 2 suitcases and a purse. And the rest is history. I've been here since April of 2022. And so I don't know how long I'm going to stay here, but right now I'm loving it. I'm having a great time. I'm learning more about the Incas. I'm learning more that there's more to Peru than just Machu Picchu. The culture, like today, I took a candle making class. And so there's a lot to do here. The people are very nice, and it feels like home. It's my second home besides Jamaica.
Besides Jamaica, yes, yes, yes. And I love it. So I want to dive into the mind of a forever traveler. Okay. So when I go to travel, one, I want it to be hot. I spend time at the beach. I may go and, check out the sites a little bit, but always come back. I'm a water kind of girl. What do you do if you were on vacation every day of your life?
Oh, you explore. You try different foods, you talk to different people, you go to different places, you take excursions, you see the countryside. A great way to see a countryside is always to do a 4-wheel tour. I've done that in Croatia. I did it in Tahiti. I've done it in Jamaica, and that's always just a great way to see the country because they're going to take you to places that normally people don't go. They're going to take you to, so you can kind of bond with nature. I also did it in St. Martin. I did it in Dominica, and so it is one of the few excursions that I think really gives people a good feel for what to do. Talking to the locals is a must. You must engage with the locals. You must, because that makes you a better worldly person when you can understand why they do what they do, or this is how they do what they do. And as a result of them doing this, this is what comes. I know that the US is the number one country in the world, but this passport thing has me thinking a second time because you can renew your passport here in Lima in 3 days. One, two, three.
I think the US is trying to either keep people out or keep people in. I'm not sure which one it is. Maybe it's a combination of both.
Yes, because that's just ridiculous that it takes 4 months for you to get your passport renewed. And so many people want to travel and don't have a passport, or they needed to have it renewed. And so that's one of the first questions I ask. Do you have a passport, and what is the expiration date?
Mhm.
And it's not really my responsibility, but I don't want to plan something for you. You pay for it and then you realize, oh, I only have 4 more months. Well, if you go to another country, most countries will require you to have 6 months on your passport.
Mhm.
So that is one of the things. And I tell people, even if you don't think you're going to travel, still get your passport. You never know when an opportunity will arise where you can travel, and now you're ready.
Yeah. So I think when I was coming through, most people, well, one, there was that time where you didn't have to have a passport if you stayed to certain countries. I think Canada and the Virgin Islands and maybe some other places. But and now in this day and age, you have to have a passport. But it's not like if most people get a passport when they know they're going to travel. Your suggestion is go ahead and get it just in case you have some place to go and you can go
Yes,
quickly.
because it's valid for 10 years. So you're going to tell me in 10 years, you're not going to at least put one stamp in your passport?
Hmm.
And the thing with the passport, because a lot of people say, well, I'm taking a cruise and I'm not going to get off the ship, or, it's a closed loop. But the thing is, if anything happens to you in another country without a passport, how are you going to get home? You have to have a passport. And while we're on the passport, the other thing I want to bring up is travel insurance. People fight me all the time. Oh no, I'm gonna go. I don't need travel insurance is just not if you're gonna go. Travel insurance is if you fall while you're there. If you step off the curb and break your leg. That's what travel insurance covers. It's almost like, you have a car. You have car insurance. Do you expect to have an accident? No, you don't. But if you have one, you're covered. And that's the big thing about it. So if you're gonna spend three, five, seven, $10,000 on a trip, why not spend a little bit more and be and have that peace of mind that if anything happens, if a loved one, if something happens, there's policies that if something happens to a loved one, you can cut your trip short and get back to them. So it's a whole plethora of things that travel insurance covers. I'm not a insurance agent, but I will provide you with the necessary resources so that you can make a comprehensive and intelligent decision on what type of insurance you need.
Love it. Okay, so she putting a plug for getting a passport and getting travel insurance. I know I've heated hard and checking that box I'm like, I've already spent this, so do I really need it? Is something going to happen? Maybe I'll take my chances. But you're saying go ahead and get it regardless because you never know when, and what you're going to need it for.
Right, because you buy a car and now you got the car, you get car insurance. It's the same thing.
Same thing.
And
Mm.
if for any reason, because none of us know what's going to happen, I just talked to a guy the other day, and he's like, "Oh, I said I was calling you," and he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I had COVID." So COVID's still here. Please don't think that it's gone. It is still here. So there's any chance that you can get it, or you could just get the flu and not feel like going.
Hmm. Okay, so let's talk about traveling. It's still in COVID. So I know you were everywhere but home, okay, during COVID. But what's your what's your suggestion, recommendation for folks who want to go out of the country, want to go on trips, and just where we are in the COVID world?
You still have to do your due diligence. I still wear my mask on the plane because you're in close proximity with people that you don't know. I still take my wipes. I still wash my hands, sanitize. Even when I get to a hotel, I still might wipe down the doors and the handles and things like that because you just never know. And, you know, um, it's not your house. And so even if they clean, they may not clean like you want things clean. So you just still have to do your due diligence, wear your mask. If you're outside, not so much. But if you're in close proximity to people, definitely wear your mask.
Got it. All right. So you mentioned the Lux exclusive, and I think you were the first. I heard that from you first. Tell me what Lux exclusive means to you in the setting of your business.
Exclusive to me means that I am presenting you with alternative vacation options that you probably didn't know about, have not Googled, or never thought, nah, I wouldn't go there. So that's where, I provide my clients with education. First I find out, what type of trip is this? Is it for a special occasion? What type of experience do you want? What are you looking to gain? When you come home, what do you want to say about this vacation? Because that will tell me a lot about, what I put in the itinerary, what I suggest for you, what, people will say, well, I heard that Curacao was nice. Okay, what did you hear about it? Who did you hear it from? So, just because I like Croatia doesn't mean that Marcia is going to like it. But once I share what I like, the crystal clear water, being on a yacht, jumping off the yacht into water that you can't sink in, she might say, you know what? That might be something for me to consider. And so part of what I do is educating my clients on options, on destinations. Um, you can't be like all over the place. I'm going to fine tune what it is you're looking for, what experience you want to extract, what benefits you're looking to get out of traveling to this place. And then we're going to put together our itinerary that is going to be on point. And we'll tweak it. We'll tweak it according to, no, I don't think I want to go to a museum. How about a cooking class? How would you like to learn how to cook the food in that country?
Hmm.
So those are the types of suggestions that I provide, and I provide solutions for those people who I don't really know where I want to go.
Hmm. Oh, that's good. You don't know where you want to go. And so what it sounds like you also do, not only do you help them with the destination, but then you also help curate the itinerary while they're there. Is that correct?
Yes, I curate the itinerary based on what they tell me. And then I have them look at it. And, like I said, if they don't want a museum, maybe they want a cooking class, or maybe they want to go shopping. I want to see what the shopping is like. So we tweak it to what would really get your juices flowing, Or like you said, if you say, well, Sassy, I only want to go do one trip outside of the resort. I just want to lay on the beach. I might say, okay, but on this excursion, I'm gonna take you to another beach. How about that? So you can get two beach experiences in one.
That's good. So a lot of times we don't know some of the, a lot of times we don't know the hidden pieces, the things that only travelers would know. So take me back to maybe one of your favorite trips or a place that's a hidden gem. And say I really want to go, or I have in my head, I'm going to go to the Bahamas because I know about the Bahamas. I know about Atlantis and I know about all the things. And but you're like, you know what? I have this other spot that's going to give you this an up leveled experience, and you're going to see some things that you haven't seen before, and you're going to get this, and this. Tell me, can you pick some place?
I guess my favorite place, Poland.
Mhm.
I started off in Krakow, and I went up to Warsaw. And so we saw, part of the Holocaust. We visited some nice restaurants, some museums. We did wine tasting. Um, and so it's part of the vacation is the experience and what you bring back. Like even coming to Lima to learn to cook one of their staple dishes like lomo saltado, which is really beef with onions and potatoes, but it's a whole different spin coming out of Lima.
Mm.
So that, or maybe you want to learn to make cocktails, maybe you want to do wine sipping, so there's a whole plethora of activities. Like in Jamaica, you can go to a farm to table experience where the owner will take you out in the field and you will pick your food and then bring it back and he will cook it, or you will help him cook a portion. In Italy, I learned how to roll pasta. And then the chef took the pasta that I learned to roll and made my dinner. That's an experience I'll never forget. Never
Yeah, that's
forget.
awesome. That's pretty
So it's
cool.
those, yes, it's those type of things um, that, like in Poland, I learned how to make gingerbread. You know, those are just some of the experiences that you have. And everybody says be spoken and hidden gems, but these are really cultural immersion experiences that you want to experience when you're in a country.
Love it. Thank you for sharing. So I wanted to reset the room. So I have with me Sassy Smith, and she is a traveler who's also an agent, and she specializes in exclusive travel destinations, those hidden gems. And I know you also do group trips, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And and right now she is in Lima, Peru. Okay, you said you can roll your R better than I can, but I can't really say
Lima, Peru.
Peru. She's in Peru right
Peru.
now. Peru, right? Okay. And she's talking about all of the places, all of the things that you get when you do an upscale trip. So this is a Girl Boss Travel Guide. Okay. And so I'm going to shout out some folks in the chat. Sharon, she's been with us. And thank you, Bridget. Welcome. Thank you. And I think there's some other people who have been listening, and Yvette, Evelyn, and Ronnie, and thank you all. And so I wanted to share something special. Sassy has a very special place in my heart, and she has the designation as my very first coaching client. Okay, my very first coaching client. and, and I want to thank you for trusting me, for putting up with me. But one of the things that I remember, you when we met, you were in that place where you had retired, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and you were trying to get to this travel full-time place, right? And you had the house that you were trying to figure out what you were going to do with it. And I want you just to kind of just share with the listeners this kind of what space you were in and how you were able to kind of transition to what it is that you're doing now.
Well, I was in a scared space. I really was. I had been a DEA agent for 31 years. That's all I knew. Well, I won't say that's all I knew. That's all I did. And, to take a leap and create a business for myself was, faux pas, like, oh, I don't know if I can make this work. And I had this house that I was basically never there. My daughter was MIA most of the time. And I remember something you said that turned the whole situation around. And I said, well, I'm waiting on my daughter, to see what she's going to do. And you said to me, what if she's waiting on you? And so that's when I took the leap of faith and I said, I'm going to sell my house and I'm going to travel the world. And it didn't, and everything was peachy keen. I was, in Portugal 41 days. I was in Mexico. I was all over the place on river cruises and Budapest and France and Bordeaux. And then I came back to take a cruise to Tahiti and it got canceled because of COVID. And then that's when I said, you don't have a place to live.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, God, you can fix it. And he did.
He did. It didn't he do? Well, won't he do it? Right.
Won't he do it? Didn't he do
And so,
it?
yes, he did. Look, and so it took me back when you were saying that. There was that moment you kept saying to me, and we're going to entertain questions. So if you have a question for Sassy, go ahead and put that in the chat. Um, there was that moment where you said, you know what, I need to be here. I need this house because I need to help my daughter, right? I need to help my daughter. And I also remember saying, what if once you sell the house, you can help her more,
Yes.
right? What if you can help her more by getting rid of that thing that you didn't even use? And now you were more fluid so that now she could benefit from the resources that you had because you weren't tied down to brick and mortar.
Right.
And I could see the light bulb come on. And you were like,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, maybe, yeah, maybe I can, right? And so I remember you the packing process was something that was a hurdle for you, but you dug your heels in it and bit by bit, step by step, moment by moment, week by week. And then for me to hear that you had sold a house and that you were on your way to Peru and all the other places. It was like that hallelujah moment of you did it, right? You said you were scared. Yeah, we're all scared. So if you're listening, I want you to take away that there was a dream. And I remember doing this exercise with you. The goal was to travel full time. And we did an alignment exercise. And actually I used your story to do a webinar where we talked about alignment. And so we have something that our head is saying, we have something that our heart is saying, and then we have what our gut is saying. And when those things are not lining up, that's when we have drama and trauma in our life. Your head was saying, I want to be a travel professional. I want to travel full time. Your heart was saying, I can't leave my daughter. My daughter needs me. And your gut was saying, I got to get out of here. And when that happens, right, you were in conflict, but I was able to help you realize that there was this extraneous thing, the thought of, even though your daughter was important, it was in conflict with what it is that you wanted. And so we had to work on that. That's now where we spent our time dealing with it, so that 2, 3 years later, you were on this call with me. You're on the radio at the Megasource Entertainment, okay, network from Lima, Peru. Okay, I got it good. That was good, wasn't it? Okay, I got it.
Yes.
Telling me that you just got off of a yacht in Croatia, okay, and all the other places where in the hoteliers where you've been curating and building relationships with travel companies and places, that you can now buy, not buy what you read, but you can share with clients. This is what you will get when you get to this destination. There was this one picture that I loved of you. You're sitting in a pool, and they have brought you breakfast. They floated the breakfast to you in this big old thing. So you're eating breakfast in the water with, with flowers and all of the bells and the whistles. So I'm gonna pause. I want you to just kind of comment on something, whatever's coming up for you.
Well, at that point, I had been approached by Malia Hotels, which is out of Spain, to be their global travel influencer. And so, of course, they asked me what that meant. I told them. And then they said, well, what are you looking? What are you looking to have? How can we make you this global travel influencer? And that was one of the things I said, to have a swim up and have my breakfast served in the pool with champagne and everything that goes with that breakfast. And he's like, we'll make it happen.
Oh, I love it. She's a global travel influencer. Can we say hello? Hello. Look, there's a comment in the chat, a question. Linda, she says, what tips would you give to a novice, someone who is new to global traveling?
I would really say to you that, have a consultation with a travel advisor, and preferably with someone who travels, because to me, there's nothing worse than someone saving all of their money to go on this luxurious, or, whatever you have in your mind, trip, and you get there and it's not what you want. It has
Mm-mm.
to be what you want. That's where my credentials lie. If it's not what you want, then I didn't do my job. I didn't find out what it meant to you. I didn't find out what is most important to you. So have a discussion, because not all travel advisors are the same, and not all of them will fit you. So make sure that when you have that conversation with them, you know exactly what they charge, you know exactly what they will do, whether they're just going to book you and drop you and tell you, hey, don't forget to take your passport. Or they're going to say, look, you're going to Jamaica. Make sure you take sunscreen. Make sure you take some dollars to tip. Or, just little things like, as I said, I have on this nautical top because I'm taking a group to Greece on a ship. And I just sent them an email today to say, look, you can't use dollars in Greece. So now would be a good time to go to your bank and ask them to convert dollars to euros so that you can better negotiate when you're buying things. And also let your bank know that you're going to be out of town. So when you use that credit card, it doesn't get rejected. On
Mm.
top of the fact, let me advise you that because you book with Sassc, you're going to get $700 on board credit. That's right. You can use it for the spa. You can use it for the premier package. You can use it for drinks. Yeah, that is one thing that I try to do for my clients, is give them unexpected surprises that you can only get with Sassy.
What's that? See there? So we got Sassy in the house. Thank you for those tips. And if you're looking to travel and you need a travel advisor, contact Sassy. And I think we just had an internet, because she's all the way from Peru, and so I think we just had a blip in the thing. But we're going to get her back on here And so reach out to Sassy, the Galleria of Travel, and we're going to make sure that we put this information back up for her to get in contact with her. And I have known Sassy for a long time, and she has been a very, when I say very, very credible, very passionate, very open into what it is that she does, and she does it at a very high level, okay, an extremely high level. And if you're looking to travel, you know, we talked about white glove, okay? When you start talking about the white glove treatment, I know what came up for you is how much is that, right? How expensive is that? And I would suggest that one is that you have a travel budget. And we talked about budgeting just in our day to day earlier in the months of the Upsis Up show. But also put in a travel budget so that you are not, I guess, strapped at the last minute. Okay. Make sure you have a plan in place so that you know exactly what it is that you want. I know she mentioned this earlier. She says about it's about the experience and it's about relationships. And I'm at the place in my life right now that I am more about the experience of what's going on. I'd rather drive someplace and enjoy the whole entire trip than to quickly get someplace and have a miserable time. Okay. Or be someplace with other people and they're miserable. Okay. It's all about the experience. And I've even said I'd rather be stranded on an island, okay, with somebody or some people who I am looking forward to spending time with than to be someplace where it's all the bells and whistles. And so it's all about the experience. It's all about the relationships. And that's what she's doing. She is curating travel, curating trips, curating memorable experiences that you will never forget, that will now change you, that will now encourage you to take another trip. And so I don't know, Sassy, can you hear me? Are we back?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. No,
I'm in
no
a
problem.
foreign
It's the
country,
internet.
so
It's the internet. I've just been sending your praise, and so I want you to share. How do folks get a hold of you if they are interested in doing a consultation or wanting to know more about the services that you provide?
you can contact me on Facebook at Sassy Smith, or you can also call me at 202-714-4017. Again, that's 202-714-4017.
Can
And
you?
you can also email me at Lux, Lux Travel by Sassy at Gmail.
Okay. And can you spell out the website with the Sassy?
It's SASSC as in Charlie, Galleria.com.
All right. Excellent. So I like to ask my guests, so this is the Up Sis Up radio show. And when you hear Up Sis Up, what does that what does that mean to you?
We all need to level up. We all need to level up our vacation experiences, you know, and that doesn't mean, that it's going to cost a lot of money. It just means that do something different, do something that you normally wouldn't do. Even if you've been to Jamaica, there's a whole experience in Jamaica you haven't experienced. There's places that have my boots on the ground, and Jamaica is one of them. I sent some clients and they have a chocolatier. Yeah. The cocoa in Jamaica, where you can go and make chocolate candy. So you want to do those type of experiences that maybe you could do somewhere else, but to say you made chocolate in Jamaica, people be like, chocolate? Oh, you didn't get it right? Oh yeah, that was the last trip.
Love it. Thank you, Sassy,
So,
for being.
and just be open. No, and I was just gonna say, just be open to new adventures. Try something that you really try, a country that you wouldn't think of going.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sassy, for being here and for sharing all of the gifts that you have and the passion that comes from within. Enjoy your travel. Enjoy. I look forward to seeing where you are going next. And I'm going to put a little bug in folks' ears. There's going to be something that Sassy and I are going to be doing together in the nearest future. So keep an eye out for LUXXclussive travel experience, and I will see you somewhere in the international waters. Okay. I I take
You
care.
will.
All right, there you go. This is Dr. Marcia, not with Sassy Smith. Thank you so
All
much
right,
for
bye.
bye bye. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. We Sassy was broadcasting all the way from Lima, Peru, and we had a little bit of internet problems, but we're gonna keep this thing going. That's what happens when you're in international water, right? Sometimes there is some connection ups and downs, but we're here about helping women and men to up level. She talked about up leveling your travel experience. And so that is what this is about, is getting to a place where not only do you have a trip, right? But now you have an experience and you have a lifetime opportunity, and that memory is going to stick with you. So this has been Up Sis Up, Women's Empowerment Radio. Stay tuned every Tuesday night here on the MSE Network. So we'll see you next week. Bye bye.